What's up, y'all? DJ Daddy in the building, man. And on another episode of Naptown's finest, man. Nothing free, nigga. I be grinding, nigga. I be grinding. I've been in the building with Miss Sherrita, the CEO and founder of In Connection Strategies. How are you today?
I am doing well. Thanks for asking.
I can dig that. So, where are you from?
I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
I am an implant here in Indianapolis. Been here almost 4 years.
Really?
It'll be 4 years in July. Yes.
So how would you say living now in St. Louis compared to here? What would you say is the difference?
It's definitely different. Indianapolis is a great place for business opportunity, for job opportunities, to raise your family in comparison. Not saying negatively, St. Louis is horrible, but there are some things there. And when you come from a place, you get kind of numb to some of the things that happen, and some of the atmosphere. And I just really needed to change. So
We all need a change.
here I am.
Y'all fuck it up, city. Get it together. Okay. So, how long have you been doing this?
So I have been, In Connections has been in business since 2015. I originally started out as just a business consultant. So I was just like doing consulting on anything that had to do with business, small business. I was doing startup. I was doing, just helping people solve problems. I'm a natural problem solver. So people that I met, I really wasn't marketing myself a lot. I just was like, oh yeah, I help people with starting up their businesses, but if you got an issue, I could probably help you fix it. So it took me a little bit to find my lane, and probably the name In Connections didn't come until 2020, but I started doing actual strategy probably end of 2015. I was like, okay, I'll just call myself a strategist. That's what I do. I come up with ways to help you solve your problems. Because when you say you're a business problem solver, people are like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What do you do?
That was my next question.
So as a strategist, what I do is pretty much I help people solve problems. But what I do mainly is teach business owners how to build effective business relationships.
Yeah.
So networking. I am a natural networker. I love meeting people. I love connecting with people. I love connecting other people to other people. So if I know that someone has a business and they need help, and someone else, or you got something, I'm gonna be like, oh, go over here and see him, and then you talk to her. And so I'm always connecting people. And honestly, until I met a connection of mine, I didn't even know that could be a business. And she was like, why are you not doing this as your business? And I said, who gets paid to connect people? She's like, lots of people. And I was like, oh, okay.
That'll work. Hell yeah. So what are some of the common problems that you run into dealing with different businesses?
There are some different things. So I just kind of added this at the beginning of 2020, which was team building. Team building is something that I have a background in. So I've worked for companies in private, corporate, nonprofit. I'm always a relationship builder. And in some of the positions that I work, I became the person that built the relationships between the employees and the leadership, and just building morale. I would create activities or events or things like that to draw people together, make sure that they can connect. So I've had a few positions where that was actually my job, to train, connect people, and build morale. So that was something that I added to what my business does. So if you have a company, you have a team, and especially now, people are coming outside of COVID and they're going back to work. Well, you've been working separately for anywhere between 12 to 10 to 12 months. What happens when you come back together? People got setting into their own personalities and working at home, and then you got to get back to office stuff. And so, I come in and just kind of evaluate what's going on. Look at, the position compared to the person that's in the position, and kind of make recommendations for that, and then also draw the team together. Some other things are I work with individuals who have current teams, and maybe they have been working, but they just don't do. Every leader is not able to hire people in the most effective way. A lot of times, especially if it's an involved leadership, they don't really have time to evaluate the people. They're just like, can we get somebody that's qualified and fill the spot? But sometimes personalities clash, or the chemistry of individuals being together, or maybe that person is just not meant for that job. Just because they have the qualifications, that might not be their best fit.
True.
So kind of evaluating things like that and looking at it, and then helping leadership understand from the perspective of employees, and employees understanding from the perspective of leadership, creates a better team, a more cohesive team, and then people work better together. So those are some major ones, like with bigger corporations. For small businesses, what I do is when people establish businesses, and I mainly work with individuals who are already established. Okay. So if you're just in startup, yes, you do need to network. However, that's not really where I am, because there's certain things you already have to have in place for me to help you build those relationships. So I just help people build relationships. We look at who's already in your network, who do you know? That's always my question, like, who do you know? And of course people say, I don't know. Who's in your email contacts? Whose business cards do you have? Like, how have you created connections with these people? And a lot of people think collecting business cards means, oh, I know those people. It doesn't. If you never even made any contact with them, you don't know them. You just met them.
Yeah.
You know who they are, maybe. You've been acquainted with them, but to build a relationship, it's just like in a romantic relationship. Like, it takes work. It's stuff that you got to do. So I help people do that.
Oh yeah, I can get that. So, what was your inspiration for all this? Like, what made you wanna just take on it? Take it on.
I've always been interested in business. Like, I am a natural entrepreneur. I come from an entrepreneurial family, so. Because my grandmother had daycare. Both of my grandmothers, as a matter of fact, had daycare centers. My aunts did. I've been around people who had businesses my whole life, and it's. For about 17 years, I ran my grandmother's, all the background stuff of her business. So she was the child care provider, but I handled her books and HR. I was everything else except the person. Well, actually, I dealt with the kids too. But so business has always been something in me. And then there are things like this is not the first business that I've had. I've attempted a few businesses that failed. So that's why I feel like I'm qualified, because I know what it takes to fail. I also know what it takes to succeed.
Yeah.
And I can help people understand that, yes, you may fail at something, but you just have to figure out, you got to come up with a strategy of how to either continue doing that or how to pivot and do something different.
Turn that negative into a positive.
Absolutely.
Y'all better listen in, man, in the building, man, with Miss Sherrita in Connection Strategies, man. We getting it. So So tell me about your first experience doing this. Like, your first experience kind of linking up. Were you nervous, or where did it all start?
Yes, I was nervous. So the reason why I mainly focus on networking and building relationships has a lot to do with me coming to Indianapolis and the success that I've had. When I moved here, I didn't have any family. I didn't have any friends. I came with my family. So I had to build relationships to be able to get the things that I needed. I knew nothing. Like, I came here in July, did an interview. It was like July 7th, and then I started my job July 31st. That's not enough time to research what to do, where to go. I didn't know where to take my kids to get in school. I didn't know anything. But I packed up and came here. So it took me making connections with people, and not just like, hi, how are you? But just being, vulnerable and saying and transparent, like, hey, I'm over here with my kids. I just got here. So the people I work with became like the individuals that helped me but then they were actually contacts. And I'm not just saying just the people that I had worked with immediately. I was in a position where I had to build relationships in the city where I knew no one. And really nothing.
Yeah.
But it was my job to build relationships. I knew the company, I learned everything that I needed for that. So I built relationships, but in that, those people in turn were like, "Oh, you do such a great job, and what are you doing? Where are your kids?" And I'm like, "Oh, we just kind of sit at home because we don't know what to do." And people would say, "Oh, go here, do this, and sometimes invite us to go with their families. That helped me to develop, like, and then I get into places, and I'm just that person. I walk into places, people always want to talk to me. Sometimes I don't want to talk to them, but they do. So I started going to these networking events because I was like, I work these jobs, but I really build these connections for me. Yes, I connect them to the company, but these are my connections. So I need to like cultivate that a little bit more. So yeah, I'm walking into some events that probably most people would not go into, with cultures of individuals that they've never really worked with. But for me, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem being in those spaces. Like I can be the someone that I know says the only meatball in the spaghetti. I'm okay with that. Like I walk in and I'm just like, I'm myself. I'm authentic every time. I don't try to be anybody else. And I say it just starts with hello.
Yeah.
That's one of my programs that I got coming out. It's called It Starts with Hello.
Okay, all right, I tuned in.
Because people make it really hard, and networking is not hard. It's not lights, camera, action. You don't have to put on a show. It's just being yourself and being authentic. So in that, in my own personality, I have gained like major connections with different people from different walks of life doing all different things, and anything that I do, I can contact these people and they're like, tell me where you are, what are you doing, what do you need help with. Those are real relationships.
Yeah.
Those are not just, oh, I've got your business card. Like these are people, they see me in the community and they're like, if you involved, then I know this must be good. So it's that type of thing.
Heck yeah.
So that's kind of like the inspiration for turning it to that, from really, pivoting from just consulting to people who need to build relationships. I honestly believe everything you need is right in front of you. It's within somebody. You heard 6 degrees of separation. That's all it really is. If you know the right people, they can get you to exactly who you need to be around or exactly who you're trying to connect with.
Yeah. See, y'all, you can't be eagles flying with ducks.
Ooh.
Gotta get your shit right. So why are relationships so important in business? Like even putting them on the scale together, most people wouldn't take that as, well, business and relationships are 2 different things. Like the way you kind of blend it, it makes it as one.
It is important because the only way that you get ahead is people. Like in everything that we do, people and connections is what gets you there. Mm-hmm. Think about, when I think about things where I've heard like people with, money, like, Bill Gates, or they're not doing all these things on their own. What they do is they have an idea, they know what it is they want to do, they present it to people, and then those people pour into them. Well, they're not just saying it to anybody. They're saying it to people that they've connected with, that they've built some level of relationship with, for them to say, oh, I'll write you a check for what it is that you want to do. And I think in our community, that's something that we lack. We lack the ability to open our mouth and talk to individuals and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. Do you know anyone? Or just telling people what it is you're trying to do, and then people come back and say, oh, well, you know what? I know this person, this person, this person. And you don't have to just talk to people in your community. Like black people don't have to just talk to black people. White people don't have to just talk to white people. I talk to everybody.
Telling y'all, we're one people. Come on with it.
Like we are trying to do the same thing, and you don't have to feel like, oh, if I tell them they're gonna steal my idea, or they're gonna take it from me. Yeah. What's for you is for you, and that's a belief that I have. So nothing that I'm doing is brand new. My grandmother used to say there's nothing new under the sun, and I believe that. Like I'm not the only person that's talking about networking or building relationships, but nobody else can do it like me. So when I'm saying this is what I'm trying to do, I'm not worried about if somebody decides to go and do the same thing. Okay, you can't do it in the way that I can. Mm-hmm. You don't have my personality, However, because we're connected, I'm going to lead you to things that I've found out or figured out, and hopefully you'll do the same. If they don't, it's okay, because whether you believe in karma, reciprocity, whatever it is, it's going to come back to you. And it has. Like, I'm living proof that it has. Mm-hmm. Again, I didn't know anyone here. So.
And look at you now.
Right.
Yeah. A couple years later. Oh, man. So, in this field, what was one of your more least? Oh, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. What was what was? Hold on, let me get it right. Sorry, y'all, bloopers. No. What was one of your least favorable moments in this field?
In this field, the least favorable. Um,
Like maybe a bad experience or something that could have turned you out, but you kept going, turned that negative into a positive.
I think having, you know what, the negative thing that I find is I know that I'm a person that has multiple talents, and I set myself into this lane because this is where I'm comfortable, this is what I'm passionate about. So two things that kind of aggravate me sometimes are people who come along and they know that I have all these different skill sets, and they say, well, you should be doing such and such, or you should be doing this. And, you know, you have to be assertive enough to say, well, this is what I'm doing right now. Maybe at some other time, or say, that's not what I'm interested in. Or individuals, I would say, working, since I've been like freelancer, working for myself, and I'm a legitimate business. I'm not a freelancer anymore, but I was. When I began, there would be people I'd go into networking events, talk to individuals, and they're like excited, and oh yeah, I'm gonna bring you on. I would love to pick your brain, but they don't want to pay. Or they say, oh, well, you can come work for me. Well, why would I stop doing my business to come and work for you? Because people always want you to build their dreams. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, no, I'm an individual business. There's a thing called a consultant. Mm-hmm. We can work together, but you pay me a consulting fee for helping you with whatever situation you have. And then that's done until the next time, or if there's never another time. And I think sometimes people don't understand that. They think, I've had several individuals that are like, okay, let's come together, let's do this. And then it gets to a point where I realize, oh, you think that you're my boss. Yeah. Oh no, that's not what's happening. No.
Oh no.
No, I'm still my boss.
Yeah.
I'm just, now I will, if I'm consulting with you, then I'm going to stay within the parameters of what you prefer, but I don't work for you. I work with you. You pay me a fee to do a service, and then that's done. I don't want you. I'm not going to sign a I-9 for you, and you don't need to give me a W-2. That's not what I'm trying to do. So that's that's the thing and I think I've grown enough now that I can recognize it before it gets that far. A few times I've gotten to the table, like to sign contracts, and looked and was like, as an employee of, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No, I'm not your employee. Yeah. Well, that's just the way I set it up. No, because this is a contract. I'm not going to sign a contract that says I'm your employee.
Yeah, that doesn't.
And then take your word saying something opposite. So that's probably the biggest negative, but I would say I'm a person that I turn negatives into positives. So because I know that, now I'm very cautious, and I say things like, now understand this is a consultant relationship. What that means is I don't work for you. I work with you to solve this problem. You pay me a fee, and then we go our separate ways. I mean, we remain in contact if you so please, but I don't work for you. So I say it several times. I don't work for you. I work with you.
Y'all better listen up. No. Heck yeah. So what have been, as long as you've been doing this in all the different businesses that you've tried, like, at what point did, you doing In Connections kind of give you that, like you said, if you tried different businesses, but with In Connections, it was something that made you, like, keep going, or something that told you, like, all right, I think this could work, I'm going to stick with it. Like, what made this have so much longevity that it's had?
It was the passion. I am a creative person. I mean, this is just one creative thing that I do.
Oh, she got me back.
But prior to that, the business I was running was actually an event management company. So I love doing events. I love everything about it. It's great. But as time progressed, and I did events probably for really since 2001. I started out doing weddings and then kind of switched into corporate and nonprofit events, like fundraising events and things like that. And I got to the point where I was wearing myself out because I'm a perfectionist and I couldn't really trust people with handling a lot of things for me. So I was really like worn out, and for the money that I should have been getting paid for it, you know, I was really cheaping myself out because I really love what I did and I wanted to make access for people who might not be able to afford it, and just being nice. But being nice in business does not help you. Like you can't progress like that.
Yeah.
Not saying you can't be nice to people, but being nice when it comes to your fees and things like that. But something that really there was a point where I had my pastor at the time, and I was doing some events for a company that he worked for, and he said to me, he was like, your lane is the logistics side. Like, yes, you do the decorations and you set up everything and it's great, but you really do well with logistics, all the background stuff, and you can answer questions and you can solve problems in a moment, and you know, so that is where you, and I took that to heart, and eventually I was like, you know what, that is what I do. And I realized that individuals were like meeting with me after their events saying, so you said something when we were working on the event and how you could fix that, and you know, they wanted me to solve their problems. These are in like, we were reviewing things and how to do it better, and I was like, well, you know, that's really what I do. And that's the part that I really liked doing. I liked doing the events, but it was wearing me out, and the passion for that was really dying.
Yeah.
Solving problems is something that I do with my eyes closed. I mean, I just naturally do it. Even when people don't ask me to, I can be in a situation, I'm like, well, if you just do this or you do that, then it'll be fixed. And then people are like, huh, we never thought about that. So it turned into, it really was already there. I just didn't know that that's what it was. And now that I know, I use it to my advantage. So that's kind of how the shift came, and there's more passion into it. And then, like I said, building the relationships. Like, I've worked in so many industries and seen where companies miss out because they're just not connecting effectively with other, like you'll have two companies that are working together on something, but this company knows absolutely, I won't say absolutely nothing, but very little about this one, and vice versa. And it's like, if you knew, then you would be able to mesh some things together, and your audience and your audience together becomes double the audience for both of you. Everybody's winning. You know, you're making more money, you have more contacts who are still telling more people about what you're doing, but people miss that mark a lot. You know, and sometimes it's for selfish reasons, sometimes it's because they just don't know how to effectively do it.
That part. Yeah, well, y'all gonna have to come on. This world is getting bigger. It's a lot of different people, a lot of different things being done. You're gonna have to connect at some point.
At some point, yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's where you come see Sherrita. We're in connections here. Let's take care of all that. So what made you become so passionate about creating these relationships and, you know, dealing with all these different people? Because, I mean, granted, that probably could take a toll on you at that point. I mean, even though it being you love what to do, but I could, you know, see how it could somewhat maybe become a toll when you're dealing with two people that just won't connect. You know what I mean? And you like, you can't just say forget it. You know what I mean?
Yes, you can.
Oh?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
So
Say
for
that
me, it really doesn't. I don't get burned out on connecting people. So my thing is, if someone pays me to help them build what I call a community network, then that's what my job is. Now, how you connect with those people, I'm going to give you the tools. I'm going to give you the strategy. How you do it, or if you carry it out, that's not my responsibility unless you're paying me to do that part.
For extra step.
Yeah, on your behalf. And a lot of that I really don't do, because I feel like if I'm building a relationship for you, then you're not building relationships. But what I will do is lay out a plan for you, and I will go with you. So that's the difference in like being a strategist and being a coach or being a consultant. When I was a consultant, I would just say, oh, well, you can do these things. You know, here's a list of things that you can do, and this should help you get to where you want to go. And all right, pay me, bye-bye. A coach is like, here's a system, and follow this system, and I'm going to check in with you on a regular basis and see if you're doing it. Being a strategist is me looking at the situation you're in compared to what you have available to you, and then throwing in some other things that maybe you haven't thought about, creating the system, and then together we go through each step so there's a beginning and an end to the strategy, and it's like the end is the goal that you have set. The beginning is how do we get to that goal, and I walk with you through it. I'm guiding you through it, but I'm not doing it for you, because the goal is to teach you to do it so that you can do it on your own after that. So it doesn't burn me out because I'm not responsible for the work. I'm just responsible for, following up, for the game plan, like you said, for the strategy, and helping you be accountable to what you said that you want to do.
True.
So I guess you could call me, I am an accountability coach, if you put it that way. But I do more than coaching. Like, I'm there with you. And there are some times, like, I work with people and, they're just like, well, I just don't think I can do that. Okay, well, let's do it together. Yeah. Let's go. I'll go with you to this networking event. I'll point out people, like, you should go meet these people. You should go talk to them. Yeah. Just say hello. That's all you got to do.
Just say hello?
Just say hello. It starts with hello.
Yeah. So, how did you become so passionate about it? Like, you could,
it's in me. When you're passionate about something, I don't really know if people know how it developed. I'm good at it. I've seen myself be good at it, and I'm not a person that even says that I'm good at a lot. I'm probably good at a lot of things. I know that I am, but I don't say, like, I'm good at that. But I am good in networking. Yeah. I really am. Like, I can walk into a room anywhere. I mean, we met through networking in a whole different... Yeah. It was just like...
You never know who
we both were there for 2 different reasons, networked, and then look at us. So that's just who I am. Like, sure. I go into rooms, it can be at the grocery store, and I'm not saying I'm always passing out my card, because half the time I don't even have business cards with me. Like, I tell people, oh, you can follow me on Instagram, because I'm on Instagram more than anything, or I'm like, you can find me on Facebook, or, here's where you'll see me at. Yeah. So it's just in me to do that. I've always been a connecting person, though. Even before there was business, I was saying things to people like, well, they have this over here. In high school, I would tell people, well, I saw this scholarship. You should apply for it too, because you got the same, So I'm always giving information, resources to people, and that's the type of stuff that I do in the community. When I'm working with community organizations, and that's just me giving back, I'm doing that. So I'm always connecting people. It's just that's who I am. I'm just a connector.
See, y'all, don't never deny a moment. You never know who you're going to meet. Never know where you're going to be, man.
That is true.
Hell yeah. Y'all need to get it together in this city, man. It's a lot of talent in this city, man. You got to get it right. So, speaking of your Facebook and Instagram, what are those for the viewers so they can know where to find you?
So, both Facebook and Instagram, I am at in.connectionstrategies. Like I said, that's Facebook and Instagram. I am not on Twitter or YouTube yet. YouTube later in the year. But
okay.
But those are the 2 main ones. And then I have a website. It is, let me remember what it is. It is in-connection-strategies. So no S on connection, -strategies.com.
Straight like that. Oh yeah. So out of all the clients you've worked with, all the places you've been, what would be your ideal client? Like, in a perfect world, what would be your ideal client to work with?
So my ideal client is a company that has anywhere between, I would say, with at least 10 or more employees. I love to do team building stuff. So those individuals who are leaders of organizations or companies with at least 10 individuals, and you really are looking to not only make sure that your employees or your team is cohesive, but also teaching them to network inside and outside of the company. because I think that that's important. I've worked for organizations where I come in to work a position, but I feel like if I'm a connector or my job is to build relationships, every time I leave the building and I'm talking about the organization, I'm talking about everything that the organization does, not just my part. And I've worked in places where people don't do that. So I've been the person at like a community event saying, oh yeah, we have this department and this one and this one and this is what they do. And then people talk to someone else and they're like, I didn't even know you guys had that because that person didn't tell me that you guys had all of these things.
I'm just a receptionist.
Yeah, and see, it should never be. I think that is, that itself, for somebody to say, oh, I'm just a receptionist, it means that you don't have a team. You have employees. And I feel like any leader that has a company, you should want every person to feel some level of ownership in the company. That's how you keep people around. That's how you keep them involved. That's how you keep them from getting burnt out, because when they can speak on behalf of the company, then that means that they care, they have some ownership, and they're going to treat it as if it's theirs. If they feel like, oh, I'm just a receptionist, then they're only going to be the receptionist. Yeah. So someone walks into your organization, they need information, and that person at the desk says, I'm just a receptionist. But that person at the desk should say, oh, yes, I can help you with that. What department are you looking for? Or who are you looking for? What is the issue you're having? And when they say it, they should be able to say, well, someone in this department should be able to help you, or maybe let me contact this person. But when we separate that and we don't make people feel any level of ownership or like they care, then why would they want to do that? So those are the companies that I want to, that are my ideal companies to work with, to come in and kind of help leaders understand from that perspective, and then helping employees understand that, you know, yes, you have a sense of ownership, but this person is the ultimate person that's the decision maker and is responsible. So then you have a better understanding of, you know, what they do, and they have a better understanding of what their team does, and everybody works well together, and it changes the dynamic of how business is. It changes from people hating their job to people loving their job.
Okay. Alright. Free game, motherfucker. Nah. Hell yeah, I can dig that. So what can your followers expect from In Connections come up here the next year?
In the next year. Okay, so I am working on some courses. So I'm trying to make things a little more digital so more people can have access to the information. But right now what I'm doing is just really getting exposure. You know, I kind of been, I guess you would say, underground for a while, been like tucking myself away instead of like putting myself out there. So now I'm doing more presentations, interviews, podcasts. That's been the last few weeks.
Well, we got her on Naptown's finest. So we doing something right.
I'm putting myself out there a little bit more, but coming up I will have like some, and I'm starting an online networking group. Right now what I'm working on is a engagement circle, which is giving people the opportunity to network online. So yes, we all are on social media and we follow people and they do follow for follow, but how many of those people do you really know?
True.
How many of those people or businesses do you really know what they do?
True.
So I've created something, and it's not really my idea, it was a suggestion to me. So people do this all the time, but I'm creating my own group and using some of the skill set that I have to help people network online, because that's the world we're in right now, where it's online. And it's in limited quantities, but if you go to my IG page and click the link in the bio, you can sign up to be a part of it. So I only have a few seats, but those individuals that take part in it, there's some great information, some great freebies in there for them. And depending on how it goes, this will be my second time. The first time I didn't advertise it, I kind of did like a beta test, but it was really good. So now we're going to do it again. And the best part of it is it's free, so you don't have to pay for that. So if you're looking to get some help with networking online, that is available. It will be starting April 15th.
Oh, all right. Well, y'all tap in, man. Hey, man. Y'all, we are back on Naptown's finest with Sherrita and Connection Strategies. So, before we get out of here, if there were, out of everything you learned as far as you've been in this business, if it was your top 3 tips
Okay.
you would give with, the newcomers and just 3 basic tips for people in networking marketing.
Yes. So 3 tips for anybody in networking, especially if you're a person who doesn't like networking or thinks that it's difficult. 3 things. The first one starts with hello. Just say hi. You're in a situation. Networking is everywhere, so it doesn't have to be an event. It doesn't have to be an online forum. It could be a party. It could be, you went to a comedy show. You could at the grocery store, wherever you see that it's happening, and you feel the need or you feel drawn to have a conversation with somebody about whatever. It just starts with hi. You just be yourself. You just say, hello, which being yourself is number 2.
Okay.
Be authentic.
Be the best you.
Be the best you that you can be. And it's not even being the best you. Just be the regular you, like the normal you. Because if you put on that whole show while you guys are being introduced, and then the next time they meet you, you're somebody else, that's a turnoff.
Yeah.
That's a turnoff to people when they're like, oh, that's different than when I first met them. So just be who you are. Whoever you are is going to draw the people that are supposed to be working with you or dealing with you. And the last thing is, remember that you're talking to another person. They are just people. So if you mess up what it is you're going to say, I've worked with people and they're trying to practice their pitch over and over and over again, and then when it comes time for them to say it, they totally forget what it is. And they're like, I forgot. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. And I'm like, so do you think that person doesn't make mistakes?
Yeah,
you think they never forgot nothing? If I forget, I'll say, I have completely lost my train of thought. I don't know why. Sometimes that just happens. Laugh it off, move on. And guess what? That person, they can relate to that. There's no person I know that can't say they've never forgotten anything. Or, their brain just froze and they can't remember what they had to say, or you mess up or you stumble. We live in this world where we have this perception of perfection, but there's no perfection in our world.
True.
So you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you. That's it. So those are my 3 tips. Just say hello. Be authentic. That's one of my themes for everything is just be genuine. Just be who you are, because people hate fake. Yeah. They do. They really hate fake. Nobody likes fake purses, fake diamonds, fake furs, fake cars, fake Jordans. Yeah. No one likes fake.
Yeah. I'm telling y'all, you can't fake it till you make it. Cause then when you make it, you still gotta fake it.
And when people say fake it till you make it, it drives me nuts.
No, you don't do that.
Be you.
Yes.
Just be you, and you will make it. The authentic you is what's gonna get you there. You don't have to fake it. And they're just people. You're talking to people. I mean, this world is about people. Without people, what do we have?
That part. See, we was all put here to network and connect.
We are all already connected. It's just a matter of you accepting it and allowing it to happen.
Let him in. No. So I do have a question. So working with more of the businesses that have been more established over time compared to working with the newer businesses, what would you say are the pros and cons of that, if you could?
So for me, the pros are I like working with both for different reasons. Like I said, when I talked about the ideal client is having a business with employees, that's great because I like to come in and I love to come into an atmosphere and change the dynamic. Yeah. That's that creative person in me. So, shaking it up a bit, but also putting the pieces back together. So sometimes I can identify all the pieces and I see how they fit together where other people won't see that. That's the creative side of me. For smaller business that are developing, they're in the development or growth stage, I like doing that too because I like when people set goals and then they can actually see the attainment of the goals. Working with bigger companies, it takes a little bit more time for that to happen because you're working with several people. When you're just working with a couple people, you can see those goals attained faster. And then they get to see some sort of accomplishment where a lot of times in business, you don't see any growth or, you may not notice things right away. It takes a lot longer for you to recognize it. But when you have someone else, like, see where you came from, look at what you had, now look at where you are.
Yeah.
So both of them are pros. I would say the only con is working with smaller businesses. When people come to me, sometimes they don't understand where you need to be in order for me to help you. So I have to do a lot of training, which takes up a lot of time. So now I've gotten to the point where I say to people, listen, here's the strategy that we have. I'll lay it all out and I'll say, here's where you are within this strategy. So what I need you to do is access some training through other resources, opportunities. These are the subjects that you need to study. These are the things that you need to educate yourself on, and then we'll come back when you have done this part. Because so I don't really turn people away. I just kind of show them where they are and where you need to be able to work with me effectively.
Yeah.
I could easily take your money, but that's not who I am.
Yeah.
So
those are
so it's a advantage on both sides. I say my ideal client is the bigger companies just because it gives me I'm just being real that like the money is a lot more for that because more people involved and the involvement is a little bit longer. But I like both.
Yeah.
I do like both. But like I said, the negative side is I don't like saying no to people. So now I've changed it from no to just not right now.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Okay. So, dang, I think I done froze up.
See, we just people.
We just
It
people.
just happens.
It happens. So, do you have like different packages, or is it kind of more so like one main package? Like I understand you still have to come in and evaluate the situation to know, but is it like?
So what I do is I create packages for people because every situation is different.
Yeah.
When I get more things that are in the digital platform where you can access some of my trainings and my strategy sessions, then they will have like one price point for that.
Okay.
But right now, when I'm working with people one-on-one or virtually, then I create a package based on what is it that you need at the moment, where is it that, what's the goal that you're trying to attain, and then I come back and I say, okay, this is how long it would take me to do it. These are the steps that we will go through. This is what it will cost.
Okay. Man, y'all tap in, man, and Connection Strategies, man. They could probably help you out. So
She could definitely help you out.
yes, she can. Heck yes. So before we get out of here, so you already gave me the tips to like kind of the newer owners and stuff like that. Like any tips to like people that's like brand new, or even those with gifts that don't even realize what they've, kind of how you.
Sure. I say just try something. If you are interested in starting a business and you're not really sure what is the right business for you, but you have some ideas of things that you want to do, just try it. In business, you can't be afraid to fail. Being an entrepreneurship is not a thing, it's a lifestyle. So you have to be prepared for the sacrifice that comes with it, the failures, but also the wins. And there are a lot of wins. When you are afraid to take a chance, then you can't ever get to the win because no one's won anything without failing first.
True.
So you have to be able to fail, take the failure, turn it into something else, shake it off, move forward. So if you try something and it doesn't work, I've tried everything. I was a multi-level marketer, didn't work. Listen, no one can put me on a team or ask me to sell anything ever again. I'm not paying monthly fees. I've done everything.
Yeah.
I've done them all. I haven't done all of them, but I've done the majority of them, from travel to diet programs to pills to listen. I know that that's not for me. So when people come to me and they say, I got a great opportunity for you, I say, thanks. That's not for me. But I know that because I've tried it so many times.
Yeah.
I've created my own products. I used to do natural bath and body products, shea butters, body butters, all of that. And it was great. I made decent money. It was like a hustle. It was hustle money. I wouldn't have been able to quit my job for that, but it was successful, but it took a lot out of me. And I just got tired of products, and it was all over my house, and it consumed me.
Yeah.
And I didn't have enough passion to keep going with it. But if you are a person that does, continue in that. And the other thing I would say is study people who are already doing what you're doing. Don't be afraid to ask somebody for tips or help, or can you shadow them, or like, we're all people and we're all trying to do the same thing. So if you're afraid to say to someone, hey, I was really interested in that and I just want to be able to ask you some questions, is that okay? If they say no, then move on to the next person. But that doesn't mean stop, because how can you know? You know, I feel like no one can ever lead you somewhere they haven't been. The experience is the best teacher. I say those things all the time.
Agreed.
So go find someone who's experienced that can give you the background to what they've done, tell you about the mistakes that they've had. I mean, and even me, if you want to hit me up, if you're trying to do multi-level marketing, I'll tell you where I failed. I might not be able to tell you how to be successful in that, but I can tell you how to network and get more people to listen to you.
Hey.
I don't know about this. I'm not a salesperson. I'm a networker. I'm a connector. Mm-hmm. So that's brought me success. And sometimes people just aren't. And you have to recognize who you are and know your personality traits. Mm-hmm. And then get into something that matches with that. Because that's what's going to sustain you. Like, you asked the question about why am I so passionate? How do I keep doing it? It is the passion that keeps me going. Because there's difficult times.
Yeah.
I mean,
I could imagine.
There's always going to be difficulties in everything, though. So it's the difference in me quitting and me continuing. That's really what it is.
Hey, man. In the building, man. Naptown's finest, man. Sherrita. Miss Sherrita with In Connection Strategies in the building. Oh, yes. Definitely a pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Oh, yeah. So any shout-outs you want to give before we get out of here?
I don't have shout-outs. I don't know how to do that.
You know, shout out my
shout out
kids,
to everybody. To my children. They not gonna watch this. They not interested.
Yeah. So tell them what platforms they can find you on.
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and you can find me at in.connectionstrategies, as well as my website is www.in-connection-strategies.com.
Hell yeah, man. In the building, man. Well, that concludes today's episode of Naptown's Finest. Y'all know me, DJ Day Day. You can find me, WWB Radio, ENT at Gmail, Naptown Freestyle Fridays at Gmail. And, man, we love y'all, and good night.
Good night.
Nothing free, nigga, I'll be grinding. Nigga.